You can have hundreds of contacts in your phone and still feel like no one would notice if you disappeared. You can spend all day in group chats, reacting with emojis, dropping memes, and still come home at night to an apartment that feels like a museum of your own absence. You can be the fun one, the helpful one, the reliable one, and realize in the quiet that almost no one on this planet has ever met the real you. That's the kind of loneliness this video is about. Not just being alone, but being surrounded by people and feeling like a ghost in your own life. Maybe that's you. You answer messages quickly, you react to stories, you show up at birthdays, you say we should hang out more. And yet, when something hurts so much that you can't breathe, you stare at your phone, scroll through names, and realize you don't know who you can call and simply say, "I'm not okay. Can you just be with me?" Loneliness is not just the absence of people. It's the absence of yourself in your own relationships. In Japanese-inspired Zen, there is a path called Kodoku no Do, the way of transforming loneliness into sacred solitude and real connection. It is not about forcing yourself to be more social. It is about learning how to be with yourself in truth, so you can finally meet others in truth. In this video, through the story of one man, you'll learn the 4 pillars of Kodoku no Do, Kokyo no Kage, the shadow of the village, understanding how you became lonely in the middle of people. Seijaku, fertile silence, learning to be with yourself without running away. Shin no Tsunagari, true bonds, choosing depth over quantity in relationships. Kizuna no Gi, the ritual of reaching out, building connection through small, consistent acts of courage. When you understand these pillars, you'll see why you feel alone even in a crowd, and how to build connections that actually feed your soul. Before we dive in, thank you to everyone who's been supporting this channel, subscribing, commenting, sharing these videos with people you care about. If this kind of content about discipline, attention, anxiety, and inner transformation supports you in your journey, consider leaving a like and subscribing. It helps more than you imagine. And I'll ask you one question. Answer it honestly in the comments or just in your heart. Do you feel lonely because you are alone or because you can't be yourself with others? Hold that question. Back to the video. Chapter 1. Alone in the crowd. Michael is 30 years old. He lives in Los Angeles. On paper, he's not alone. He works in a busy office. He has co-workers, Slack channels, team lunches. He's in 3 group chats. One with old college friends, one with people from a gym he barely goes to, and one for gaming nights that almost never happen. His social media is alive. Stories, likes, tags, inside jokes in the comments. If you looked at his phone, you'd think, this guy is connected. He's fine. But at night, it's a different story. Michael comes home from work, drops his keys on the counter, puts takeout on the table, and opens his laptop. Netflix plays something he's not really watching. With his other hand, he scrolls. People laughing in clubs, couples cooking together, friends at concerts, weddings, baby showers. He double taps, reacts, types bro and miss you man to people he hasn't seen in years. The room is quiet, except for the noise in his head. Why do I feel like I'm watching life through a window? Why am I in so many conversations and yet I feel like I don't exist? How can I have this many people and still no one I can really talk to? At the office, Michael is the easygoing one. He laughs at jokes he doesn't find funny. He says no worries when he's actually exhausted. He listens to other people's stories and rarely shares his own. When someone asks, "How are things?" he has a reflex answer ready. "Good, busy, you know." He floats on the surface of every interaction like a leaf on water, never sinking, never rooted. One Friday night, His team goes out for drinks. The bar is loud. Music, conversation, glasses clinking. Michael smiles, nods, does the familiar dance. He performs. At one point, he looks around the table, everyone talking, laughing, faces lit by blue notifications and camera flashes, and a strange thought hits him. If I quietly got up, walked out, and never came back, would anything in this room actually change? He laughs at himself, drinks, posts a story, clinking glasses, people cheering. Good vibes only. Hours later, he's in an Uber going home. The city blurs past. He opens Instagram and sees it. An old friend from his hometown, holding hands with his fiancée, a group picture at an engagement party. Michael zooms in. He recognizes faces from high school, people he used to see every day, people who used to say, "You're like a brother to me." He wasn't invited. He stares at the screen. His chest tightens, his throat closes a little, but his face stays blank. The driver glances in the mirror. Long day? Michael smiles automatically. Yeah, long day. Back in his apartment, he sits in the dark with only the phone lighting his face. He scrolls. More weddings, more dinners, more people who seem to belong somewhere. Somewhere deep, a sentence appears. You're always there for everyone, but you're not really anywhere. He scrolls harder, as if he could outrun that sentence. At 1:47 a.m., his heart starts pounding. No clear reason, just a wave of anxiety rising out of nowhere. He tries to breathe, hands shaking slightly. Am I having a heart attack? Is something wrong? He considers calling someone. He opens his contacts, names, hundreds of names, co-workers, old classmates, gym acquaintances, people saved as Mark Tinder, Sarah Yoga, Jake from something. He scrolls through and realizes a terrifying thing. There is not a single person he feels safe calling just to say, "I'm scared. Can you stay on the phone with me?" The panic grows, not just about his heart, about his life. He puts the phone down, leans forward, breathes. After a while, the wave passes. His heart slows down, but something else remains. A quiet, cold clarity. I am surrounded by people, and I am completely alone. He needs air. Michael throws on a hoodie, steps out into the sleeping city, and just walks. Past closed cafes, glowing billboards, late-night traffic. The streets of Los Angeles, bright and empty at the same time. He doesn't have a destination. He's just moving so he doesn't drown. After a while, he turns onto a smaller street he's never noticed before. Most stores are dark, but one, oddly, is still lit. A small flower shop. The sign above the door says, in simple letters, Tanaka Flowers inside. He can see shelves of plants and flowers, soft, warm light, and an older woman arranging stems in a vase. It's nearly midnight. The open sign is still flipped. For a reason he cannot explain, Michael reaches for the handle and steps inside. Chapter 2. The woman in the flower shop. A small bell rings as the door opens. Warm air wraps around him. The subtle smell of soil, water, and flowers. Soft instrumental music plays in the background. The woman behind the counter looks up. Silver hair in a loose bun, wrinkles that look more like lines drawn by years of smiling than by stress. She tilts her head, amused. "You're either lost," she says, "or you need something you can't find on your phone." Michael blinks. I was just walking. I didn't know you were open this late." She shrugs. The flowers are still awake. So I am too. Her eyes scan his face for a moment, not in a creepy way, but like a gardener checking a plant. She nods to a corner of the shop. "Sit," she says gently. "You look full of noise." There's a small wooden chair near a table with tiny succulents. Michael hesitates, then sits. She continues arranging stems, but somehow he feels like the room has turned into a mirror. After a quiet minute, she asks, "Tell me, when was the last time you spoke and didn't perform?" The question hits him so hard he almost laughs. "What do you mean?" he says. She smiles softly. "I mean, when was the last time you said something honest without trying to be funny, impressive, or fine?" Michael thinks. Office banter, polite small talk, group chat jokes. He realizes he can't remember. He shrugs. "I don't know. I talk all the time." The woman nods. Yes, talking is not the same as being seen. She continues working as she asks the next question. "When was the last time someone saw you cry?" Michael looks away. He has cried, of course. In the shower. In the dark. Silent tears when a relationship ended. When his father got sick. When he felt that strange, empty ache. But no one was there. He clears his throat. "It's been a while." She places the finished bouquet into a vase. Then she steps closer. "I am Tanaka," she says. "Most people call me Mrs. Tanaka. This is my little garden in the city." He introduces himself. "Michael." "Michael," she repeats, as if tasting the sound. "You carry a lot for someone so young." He frowns. "How can you tell?" She gestures around. People don't usually come into a flower shop at midnight unless something inside them is breaking or waking up. She wipes her hands and leans against the counter. "In the monastic tradition I come from," she says, "there is a path we used to talk about. Kodoku no do, the way of solitude." He nods politely, not understanding. "But solitude is not what you think." Her eyes soften. "There are two kinds of loneliness. There is empty loneliness, when you are running from yourself and others. You fill the silence with noise. You scroll, you perform, you wear masks. You can be surrounded by people and still feel like an abandoned house inside. And then there is sacred solitude, when you are willing to sit with yourself in truth. You stop running. You listen. You meet your own heart as it is. From that place, when you meet others, the connection is real." She reaches for a small plant and waters it just a little. "A plant can be in a crowded garden," she says, "and still die of thirst if its roots never really touch the water. Many people live like that. Lots of leaves, lots of neighbors. No real nourishment." She looks at him again. "You are not lonely because there are no people, Michael. You are lonely because there is no you in your relationships." The words land like a quiet explosion. Michael thinks of the bar, the office, the group chats. All the times he said, "I'm fine," as a reflex. All the jokes, the polite nods, the superficial answers. There was always someone there. But he was never fully there. His phone buzzes in his pocket. He ignores it. "How do I change that?" he asks, almost whispering. Mrs. Tanaka smiles. "Kodoku no do is not a theory," she says. "It's a training, a way." She walks over to a small notebook lying on a shelf, opens it, and shows him 4 handwritten phrases in Japanese. Then their translations. Kokyo no kage, the shadow of the village. Seijaku, fertile silence. Shin no tsunagari, true bonds. Kizuna no gi, the ritual of reaching out. "These are the 4 pillars," she says. "If you walk them with sincerity, your loneliness will change shape. It may not disappear, but it will become a bridge instead of a cage." Michael looks at the words. They feel both foreign and strangely familiar. "Why does it hurt so much?" he asks. "This emptiness, this feeling invisible." She nods slowly. Because your nervous system is not built for isolation. Chronic loneliness is like malnutrition for the brain. It keeps you in a subtle state of threat. Your heart races, your sleep breaks, your thoughts spiral. She taps his phone gently. These devices are like fast food for connection. They trick your brain with tiny hits of dopamine, a like, a message, a notification. But they rarely give you the oxytocin, the deep calm that comes from real presence, eye contact, shared silence. You think you're connected, but your deeper systems still feel alone. So your mind ruminates, your body tightens, you scroll more to escape the discomfort, and the loop continues. Michael swallows. He's never heard anyone describe what he feels with such precision. So what do I do? He says. Just leave social media? Move to a monastery? Mrs. Tanaka laughs softly. No, you stay in your life. Los Angeles needs awake people too. She closes the notebook. But if you wish, you can train. You can walk Kodoku no do in the middle of the city. You can learn to turn this deep loneliness into sacred solitude, and then into real connection. He looks at her, vulnerable. How? He asks. She points to his chest. First, she says, we go back. We find out how you became lonely in the middle of people. Chapter 3. The Discipline of Solitude. The next week, Michael returns to the flower shop. It becomes, quietly, a ritual. Some evenings after work, some weekend mornings before the city fully wakes up. He always finds Mrs. Tanaka there, watering, pruning, arranging. One day, she places a notebook and a pen in front of him. Today, she says, we begin Kokyo no Kage, the shadow of the village. What does that mean? He asks. In every village, she says, every child learns what they must be in order to belong. The funny one, so no one bullies them. The strong one, so no one sees their fear. The good one, so no one gets angry. You live inside those roles for so long that one day you realize you are surrounded by people who know your mask, but not your face. She gestures to the notebook. Write down the roles you play, she says. In your family, at work, with friends, online. Don't overthink, just write. Michael stares at the blank page. After a deep breath, he begins. The easygoing one, the listener, the I'm fine guy, the one who doesn't need help, the dependable coworker, the one who always answers quickly, the one who never says, "This hurts me." Memories rise. Being a kid at the dinner table, learning that sharing his feelings made the room tense. So he learned to say, "It's okay. I'm fine." Being teased at school when he showed sadness. So he learned that vulnerability can danger. Being praised for being so mature, so low maintenance, so chill. He realizes something painful. Loneliness didn't just happen to me. I built it, every time I chose a role over my truth. He looks up. His eyes are wet. Mrs. Tanaka nods as if she sees the invisible pages inside him. This is the shadow of the village, she says. You learned to survive by hiding. It was intelligent. You should thank that younger you. But now, the same strategy that kept you safe as a child is starving you as an adult. She closes the notebook gently. To transform loneliness, she says, you must first see how you abandoned yourself long before others abandoned you. This is not about blame. It is about clarity. Over the next days, Michael continues this work. He writes down conversations where he lied with a smile, moments where he wanted to say, "I'm hurt," and instead said, "It's cool." Times he laughed to avoid silence. He begins to see a pattern. His loneliness is not just an accidental feeling. It is the natural outcome of always choosing performance over presence. One evening, as he's leaving the shop, Mrs. Tanaka stops him. "Now we begin seijaku," she says. "Fertile silence." He groans. "That sounds scary." She chuckles. "It is, at first." She hands him a small card with a simple instruction. Every day for the next 10 days. Sit, walk, or write for 15 minutes. No phone, no music, no screens, just you and your mind. He looks horrified. 15 minutes? Doing nothing? Not nothing, she corrects him. Doing something you rarely do. Being with yourself. She explains. When you finally remove the noise, your nervous system, used to constant stimulation, will protest. Restlessness, anxiety, old memories, self-criticism. This is normal. Your brain's default mode network, the system that turns on when you're not focused on a task, will flood you with thoughts. But if you stay gently, without escaping back into distraction, something begins to change. At first, the silence feels like an enemy. Later, it becomes a teacher, and eventually, a friend. The first few days are brutal. Michael sits on his couch, phone turned off in another room, and sets a timer for 15 minutes. Within 30 seconds, his mind screams, "This is stupid. Check your phone. What if someone messaged you? What if something happened at work?" He feels an itch under his skin. His leg bounces. His brain replays conversations, worries about the future, rewinds old embarrassments. Every part of him wants to get up. He doesn't. After what feels like an hour, he checks the time. 3 minutes? He swears. But he keeps going. Day after day, he returns to the silence. Some days he sits. Some days he walks slowly around the block without headphones, just listening to his own breathing and the city's. Some days he writes in his notebook, pouring out unfiltered sentences. "I'm scared people wouldn't like me if they saw how needy I am. I don't know if I even like myself. I feel like a background character in my own life." He brings these pages to Mrs. Tanaka. She reads them quietly, nodding. "This," she says, tapping the messy handwriting, "is fertile soil. Seijaku is not about forcing your mind to be empty. It is about creating a space where your real thoughts and feelings are finally allowed to show up. You cannot connect authentically with others while you are a stranger to yourself. Silence is where you stop abandoning yourself." Neuroscience supports what she's saying. When Michael resists the urge to escape into his phone, he is training his nervous system. Instead of flooding himself with new stimuli every time discomfort arises, he allows his body to feel it and settle. Little by little, his brain learns that being alone is not automatically dangerous. His stress hormones don't spike as quickly. His sleep improves. He begins to notice that, after these 15 minutes, he feels clearer, less desperate for external noise. The silence is still uncomfortable, but not unbearable. One afternoon, sitting quietly on a bench by a small park, Michael realizes something. For the first time in years, being with himself doesn't feel like punishment. It feels almost like coming home. Chapter 4. Learning to reach out. Weeks pass. The work of Kokyo no Kage and Seijaku begins to shift something inside Michael. He understands his roles more clearly. He can sit with himself without immediately escaping. But one big question remains. How do I actually connect with people differently? He asks Mrs. Tanaka this one evening, while helping her move some pots. "You have cleaned the soil," she says. "Now we plant new seeds." She flips the notebook again and points to the next line. "Shin no tsunagari, true bonds." In this pillar, she explains, You choose depth over quantity. The modern village tells you more followers, more contacts, more group chats, but your heart doesn't count like that. If you can be fully yourself with 3 people in your entire life, you are rich. She gives him a simple assignment. Choose 1 to 3 people in your life, she says, with whom you feel even a little safe. It could be an old friend, a cousin, a colleague who seems kind. Not perfect people, just not dangerous. With them, you will practice going 1 step deeper. 1 step? He asks. Yes, she says. Not 10. Just 1. If you normally say, I'm fine, say, honestly, it's been a hard week. If you normally make a joke, add, I joke a lot, but I'm actually tired. If you normally ask all the questions, share something about yourself. You do not have to pour your entire soul out at once, but you must move from performance to presence at least a little. That week, Michael chooses Daniel, an old college friend he still talks to sometimes. Elena, a co-worker who once told him he could talk to her if he ever needed. His younger sister, living in another state. With each of them, he experiments. On a call with Daniel, when asked, how's work? He almost says, good, busy. Instead, he takes a breath. It's okay, he says. But I've been feeling pretty lonely lately, actually. There's a pause. His heart races. He wants to hang up. Then Daniel says, dude, me too. And suddenly they're talking about things they've never admitted to each other before. With Elena at lunch, she asks, weekend plans? He shrugs. I might just stay in, he says. Sometimes I realize I'm around people all the time, but I still feel kind of invisible. He expects awkwardness. She looks at him with soft eyes. I get that, she says. Thanks for saying it out loud. If you ever want to get coffee and just talk, I'm around. With his sister, he sends a voice note instead of a text. Hey, he says, voice shaky. I just wanted to say, I know I always act like I'm fine, but I've been struggling with loneliness a lot. I don't want us to be strangers who only send memes twice a year. He almost deletes it. Instead, he hits send. Later, she replies with her own voice note, crying. She admits she's been feeling the same. These moments are small, but each one is a crack in the wall. Shin no Tsunagari is not dramatic. It is built in tiny, honest sentences. At the same time, Mrs. Tanaka introduces the 4th pillar. Kizuna no gi, the ritual of reaching out. Connection must become a discipline, she says, not an accident. If you wait to feel less lonely before you reach out, you will wait forever. You must reach out while you feel lonely. She asks Michael to design his own rituals of connection. He comes up with 3. 1 real voice message a day to someone he cares about. Not small talk, something honest, appreciation, a real update, a question that matters. 1 weekly coffee or walk with someone, with both phones on silent and out of sight. Every evening, send 1 short message of genuine gratitude or encouragement to someone in his life. At first, it feels mechanical. He has to push himself. His old pattern says, don't bother people. They'll think you're needy. They're busy. Who do you think you are? But he follows the rituals anyway, like training. Over time, something shifts. Some messages are ignored. Some get quick emoji replies, but others open doors. A long conversation with an old friend who thought Michael had moved on and didn't care. A deep talk with a coworker on a walk, where they both admit to feeling like imposters. A coffee with Elena that feels like exhaling after holding his breath for years. Meanwhile, his nervous system is learning something new. Instead of reaching for the phone only to consume, he's using it to create connection. Instead of waiting to deserve company, he's building small bridges every day. Not all attempts go well. One day, he sends a long, vulnerable message to someone he used to date, sharing how lonely he's been, thanking them for their past presence. He sees the seen notification. No reply. Hours pass. Days. The old story returns, like a storm cloud. See? You're too much. People don't really care. You should have stayed quiet. You're better off alone. He retreats. That week, his rituals fall apart. He stops the voice messages. He spends more nights doom-scrolling, old habit gripping him like a familiar drug. The silence becomes hostile again. After 3 days of this, he walks back into the flower shop, ashamed. "I messed up," he says. "I tried to be more honest and got ignored. I feel stupid. I think maybe I'm just not meant for this." Mrs. Tanaka listens, then asks, "How many seeds have you seen a gardener plant in your life?" He frowns. "I don't know. A lot." "And do they all grow?" she asks. "No, of course not." She nods. "Not every seed becomes a flower. Not every message becomes a conversation. Not every vulnerability is met with understanding. This is not proof that you are unworthy. It is proof that you are alive." She places a small pot in front of him with a seed just beginning to sprout. If a gardener took one seed, planted it, watched it fail to grow, and then said, "See, nothing ever works. I will never plant again," what would you think? That they're bad at being a gardener, he says. "Exactly," she smiles. Kizuna no gi is not about getting the response you want. It is about honoring your nature as a being who is made for connection. Your work is to plant, to reach out with sincerity, to tell the truth. Some people will respond, some will not. But if you stay loyal to the path, you will find your people. The goal is not to be loved by everyone, Michael. The goal is to be fully known by a few. He lets the words sink in. He feels the sting of rejection, but also something steadier beneath it. He pulls out his phone, deletes the social media apps for a few days, and sends one simple message to a friend he trusts. "Hey, could we talk sometime this week? I've been going through some stuff and I'd really value your company." He hits send. The training continues. Chapter 5. From emptiness to bonds, a year passes. Michael still lives in Los Angeles. He still works in a busy office. He still has group chats and social media, though he uses them differently now. From the outside, not much has changed. From the inside, everything has. He has a small circle now, not hundreds of contacts, but a handful of people with whom he is slowly, steadily, learning to be fully himself. He and Daniel have monthly video calls where they talk about real things: fear, dreams, therapy, family. With his sister, he has a standing Sunday call, phones down, where they tell the truth about their week. He and Elena sometimes walk in the park after work, sharing their struggles with anxiety and burnout. He still practices seijaku. Some mornings, he sits with coffee, no phone, just the quiet. The silence is no longer hostile. It feels like a room in his inner house where he can finally breathe. Loneliness is not gone. But when it comes, he recognizes it differently. Not as a verdict, "You are unlovable," but as a signal. You have drifted away from your own truth or your real connections. Sometimes when he feels that familiar ache, he doesn't numb out. He asks, "Have I been honest with anyone lately? Have I given myself silence? Have I reached out?" And he acts. Then one day, something happens that reveals just how far he has come. A close friend, someone from his new small circle, goes through a crisis, a breakup that shatters them, or a job loss, or a sudden family illness. They send Michael a text. "Hey, are you around?" Old Michael would have responded with a meme, a joke, or, "You've got this," and then stayed at a distance, afraid of being too much, afraid of being awkward. New Michael takes a breath and calls. "I'm here," he says. "Do you want to talk? I can come over." He goes. He sits on their couch as they cry, rant, go silent. He doesn't try to fix it. He doesn't perform. He shares his own experiences with pain, not to make it about him, but to say, "You're not alone." They sit in long stretches of quiet. The kind of silence that would have once felt unbearable. Now it feels like a bridge. In that moment, Michael realizes something. This is the connection I always wanted. Not perfect words, not constant entertainment, just presence. Later, his friend texts him, "I don't know how I would have survived this week without you. Thank you for being here." Michael reads the message slowly. He feels a warmth in his chest. Not the sharp spike of dopamine, but a deep, steady glow. He thinks of the boy he used to be, the man in the Uber, scrolling through weddings and feeling invisible, the night in the dark apartment, too afraid to call anyone. He thinks of Mrs. Tanaka, of the flower shop with the light on at midnight, of the notebook with 4 pillars. He realizes real connection was never about being impressive. It was always about being present. Some months later, he returns to the flower shop with a small gift, a framed photograph of the entrance, taken at night, light spilling on the sidewalk. "For you," he says shyly. Mrs. Tanaka smiles, eyes shining. "So," she asks, "how is your Kodoku no do?" He takes a deep breath. "I still feel lonely sometimes," he says. "But now it's different. When it comes, I know it's time to sit with myself or to reach out, not to disappear into my phone. I have a few people I can call at 2 a.m. now. And more importantly, I can call myself. I don't feel like a ghost anymore." She nods, satisfied. "This is sacred solitude," she says. "You have roots now. You are still one tree among many, but you are no longer starving underground." As he leaves the shop, the city feels the same. Traffic, billboards, crowded sidewalks. But Michael walks differently. Slower. More here. He knows that loneliness may visit again. But he also knows he is not powerless. He has a path. Kodoku no do, the 4 pillars. Summary. Maybe as you listened to Michael's story, you recognized pieces of yourself. So let's bring it back to you. This is Kodoku no do, the way of transforming loneliness into sacred solitude and real connection. 1. Kokyo no kage, the shadow of the village. Understand how your roles and masks made you lonely in the middle of people. Ask yourself, what roles do I play to feel safe and accepted? The funny one? The helpful one? The quiet one? The I'm fine person? Journal about when you first learned to hide your true feelings. Family, school, past relationships. See clearly. Loneliness often begins the moment you abandon your own truth in order to belong. 2. Seijaku, fertile silence. Learn to be with yourself without running away. Silence is the soil of real connection. Practice 10 to 20 minutes a day of being with yourself. No phone, no music, no screens. You can sit, walk, or write. But stay with your thoughts and feelings instead of numbing them. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. This is your nervous system detoxing from constant stimulation. Over time, the silence becomes less threatening and more grounding. You start to hear what you truly feel and need. 3. Shin no Tsunagari. True bonds choose depth over quantity. Be honest with a few instead of fake with many. Pick 1-3 people you feel somewhat safe with. Not perfect, just not dangerous. Practice going one step deeper in conversations. Swap "I'm fine" for one sentence of truth. Share something real, a struggle, a fear, a need, and also listen deeply when they speak. Remember, your heart doesn't count followers. It counts moments of truth. 4. Kizuna no Gi, the ritual of reaching out. Make connection a daily discipline, not an accident. Reach out even while you feel alone. Create simple rituals like one honest voice note a day, one weekly coffee or walk with phones away, one message of appreciation every evening. Don't wait to feel less lonely before reaching out. Reach out as you are. Accept that not every attempt will be met. Not every seed grows. Your job is to keep planting. Maybe your life is full of people and still empty of connection. Maybe your days are crowded with messages and meetings, but your inner world feels like an empty apartment. If so, hear this. You are not broken. You are not too much or not enough. You are likely starved of truth, not contact. Starved of moments where you can show up without your armor, your persona, your performance. Your loneliness is not a verdict on your worth. It is a signal, a call back to yourself, and then, from that self, a call to others. So here is your simple assignment. If you choose to walk even one step on Kodoku no Do, tonight, sit for 10 minutes without your phone. No distractions, just you. Breathe. Notice what comes up. Don't escape it. You don't have to fix anything. Just listen. After those 10 minutes, send one honest message or voice note to someone. Not small talk, something real. For example, "Hey, I realized I've been feeling lonely lately, and I don't want us to drift apart. I appreciate you more than I say. Can we hang out sometime soon? I miss real conversations." That's it. One small act of solitude. One small act of courage. You don't have to transform your entire life tonight. You just have to prove to yourself that you are willing to be here, with yourself and with another human being, in truth. If this video resonated with you, and you want more stories and tools about discipline, attention, inner healing, and relationships, feel free to subscribe, activate the bell, and explore the other videos on this channel. And remember the question we started with. Do you feel lonely because you are alone, or because you can't be yourself with others? Let the answer guide your next step. Be present. Walk with honor. Follow the path.